demo. I'm going to be showing you a little demo on how to create applications on Intune, and at the same time, how to protect this application. So yeah, I've signed into my tenant account with my tenant admin account. So I'm going to search for Microsoft Intune here. Intune application policy. So to create an application, you click on the app and click on add. So here you can select the type of application that you want to create, you want to deploy. You have the option of deploying an Android application, iOS, a Windows application. You can actually deploy it from managed Google Play application if you have a Google Play for Work account. So the difference between this Android store application and managed Google Play app here is that if you have an Android Google Play Work account, you can deploy it from Google Play directly. While the Android store app here, you still have to go on your browser and go to play.google.com just to take the application, the link of the application, then create the application. But here, the managed Google Play app is actually seamless and is easier to do. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. I'm going to click on the manage Google Play application and select it. So here I'm going to search on the application that I want to be deploying. So I'm going to search for PowerPoint. So we select the PowerPoint app. Oh, it's already been approved here. Okay, so let me look for an application that has not been approved. Let me see, OneDrive. Okay, so Microsoft OneDrive, let's approve it. Once we're done approving it, we click on sync and we wait a few minutes for the application to appear here. Okay, so the application is here already. So after creating the application, we want to be able to deploy this application to people. Beforehand, I've already created a group, so I'm going to be deploying this application to that group. So we want to make it either required, available for enrolled devices, and available with or without enrollment. Required means that you want it to be able to deploy automatically to the user. The user doesn't need to see it as available and click on it. It automatically installs once it gets to the user's device. But available for enrolled devices is for users' devices that have been enrolled to Intune, but you want to make it available for them to manually click on it to install. While available with or without enrollment means that whether the device has been enrolled or it hasn't been enrolled, you just want it to be available for them to click on it, manually click on it and install. So I'm going to make it required. So I'll select the group and save it. After saving it, it will successfully deploy to the user's device. So we don't just want to create an application and deploy it and allow users to have free access to this company's information through this application. Now, I want to be able to protect this application. So we come here and create application protection policies. So we click here, create a policy. You can either create for iOS device, Android device, or Windows 10 device. So we need to create for an Android device because that's what we have already deployed as an application. So we give it a name. Then do we want to target all device type? Yes, we want to target all device type. So public application, the difference between public application and custom application is that select custom application means that you have an application that you have developed in-house and you want to be able to protect this application. While public apps is the applications that are already available on Microsoft Store. So we're going to select the public application. Currently, I don't have an application I have developed in my own environment. Okay, OneDrive. So we select OneDrive as the application we want to protect. So here we're going to select the policies that we want to allow. So do we want to back up the organization's data to Android backup services? We want to block that. Do we want the user to be able to send organization data to other applications? This means that you want the user to have access to send company's information to other applications, other personally owned applications. So for me, we are not supposed to select this. So we can choose policy managed application, meaning that we want it to be able to send organization data to only manage applications on Intune. Do we want to save copies of organization data? No. Do we want to allow users to save copies to selected services? Okay, so we allow the OneDrive for business. We don't want them to be able to save to their local storage. We want to receive data from other applications. Do we want to restrict cut or paste, copy or paste? Like I mentioned before, you don't want users to be able to copy or paste or take screenshots of the organization's data. So here we're going to select policy managed application. We only want that to happen between policy managed application. Do we want to allow screen capture and Google Assistant? No, we don't want that. Do we want to encrypt the organization data? Yes. Do we want to restrict web content transfer with other applications to only Intune managed browser? Yes. Do we want to printing? No. Do we want to sync application with native contact applications? No. We don't want our contacts to be synced with our Outlook, like our personal contacts. We don't want it to be synced with our Outlook, so we're blocking it. Do we want notifications? We allow notifications. After creating and selecting the policies, click on next. For this place, we want to select the PIN, the amount of PIN that will be required for the user to put in before he has access to the company's information. So this you can be likened to your app lock on your phone. So there are various applications on your phone. Like for me, I use an application lock on my phone, a personal application lock that locks my application. I have to provide a PIN, or I could use my fingerprints to authenticate me so that I can have access to this application. So not just anyone can have access to the application. So this is the same thing here. Want to select the minimum PIN, you can leave the minimum PIN as default 4. You want them to be able to use fingerprint? Yes. You want to allow it for Android 6.0. So you leave it as default here. You select the number of PIN, number of timeouts you want. Do you want them to reset their PIN after a specific number of days, like your AD environment that you tell your users to reset their password in 45 days? So yes, I want the users to be able to reset their PIN in 90 days. Then click on next. Here we want to block some settings. We don't want jailbroken devices. We want to set the offline grace period to 720 minutes. The maximum pin to 5. After that, they need to reset. So after the offline grace period has been reached 90 minutes or 90 days, it's in 90 days actually, you should wipe the organization data from the user's phone. So I've blocked jailbroken devices or rooted devices from here. So here we want to select the group I want to assign these policies to, which is the group that I created before. After this, we successfully created an application and applied application protection policy to this application. So conditional access is actually a very good feature of Intune, and is also a feature of identity management on EMS. So conditional access allows you to set a particular requirement that a user must meet before they have access to the company information. So it's not just anyone that can have access to the company information. You only give the right amount of access to a user. So these conditions that they must meet, some of these conditions are user identity. You want to specify the user that can have access. They must be part of a particular group, or you want to specify the device type. So you want the device, whether the device is managed or is domain joined. So if the device is domain joined, you want to say, okay, you should have access to the company's information. If it's not domain joined, you want to block access to the company's information. You want to also specify the application that they will have access to. For example, if you want to block OA, you don't want users to be using OA, you want them to be using the Outlook application on their device to access their mails. Or you want to block them, you want to be able to block Active Sync. You don't want users to be able to use Active Sync on their device, the native Active Sync. Or you want to block the location that the user is accessing the application from. There are some users that try to access, some malicious users that pose as a user in the organization, and they are signing in from maybe Russia or China, an untrusted location. You don't want them to be able to have access to the company's information. And at the same time, if they have access to it, you want to make sure that they use multi-factor authentication to prove that they are actually the people signing in. So I'm going to be showing a demo on conditional access. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me before we dive into the demo. Any questions? Okay. So let's dive into the demo. Okay, so here I'm going to be going to Intune again, and I click on conditional access. Microsoft have already created predefined policies here. So, but we can create our own policies.
I can't see the screen.
You can't see my screen? Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. You're in the Microsoft portal, and Azure portal.
Yes, I can see your screen too.
Okay, I think the problem might be from your system.
So kindly rejoin. Just you can sign out and join back into the call, please.
Okay. So let me take us back again. So create a new policy. Here we choose the user or group that want to assign the conditional policy to. So I want to select this and the group that I have created. So we give it a name. So do we want access to all cloud applications or selected applications? So yeah, I'm going to select the applications I want the user to have access to. Exchange online. You can decide to exclude. You can choose the application we don't want them to. We want them to actually have access to. So here we select the sign-in risk. So for as I previously spoke of Azure Identity Protection, which is a feature of identity management in Intune. So the identity protection allows you to identify users, set policies to identify users that are signing in from untrusted locations. So you select a trusted location, and if a user is signing in from Russia or China, it's supposed to alert the IT admin that this user has been signing in from an untrusted location. So here we're going to select if the sign-in risk is actually high, medium, low, or no risk. So we're going to select if it is high, it should not have access to the company's information. Here. So we'll select the device platform, whether we want it on all devices or we want it on selected devices. So I could choose to select all devices or choose just one. So I'm going to be choosing only Android devices. So here, if I've selected a trusted location, we can set it here. But currently, I don't have a trusted location set in my organization, so I'm going to leave it. Here we select the client application that we want them to use to access the cloud app. So I don't want Exchange Active Sync, like I said before. I don't want the users to be able to access their mails using Exchange Active Sync. They should use the Outlook application on their device. So, and we don't want OWA. I'm blocking OWA access. After doing this, select done. So now here we want to select whether we want them to grant access or block access. So if we're granting access, we have to select require multi-factor authentication to prove that the user is actually who he says he is. And after this, we enable the policies and create. If I'm going too fast, feel free to tell me so that I can go over it again, just for us to understand it better. So I've successfully created a conditional access policy, and a user can't just have access to any of the organization application. So it's the user only has what is given access to. Let's talk about Windows information protection. So I don't want us to mistake Windows information protection with Azure information protection that I mentioned earlier. So they are two different things. They are two different solutions.
Azure Identity,
and they do Azure information protection.
Azure.
So they do two different things. They are two different things. Normal is actually people mistake them for mistake the two of them together, the Windows Information Protection and the Azure Information Protection, because there is information protection in the two of them, but they actually do two different things. So the Windows Information Protection helps us to identify and mark corporate data from the user's personal data on a Windows device. So this is only specific for Windows devices. So data which is identified as corporate data is actually protected. Windows Information Protection helps us to manage applications on the devices which works on data to prevent accidental leakage of our company's information. So permit me to show you a short demo on creating Windows Information Protection. Okay, so instead of me typing, I could just click on this and click on Client Application, Application Protection Policy. Create a policy, Windows 10. So this is how we create it. Protected applications, we select the protected application, OneDrive. Next. So here we select the Windows Information Protection mode. Do we want to block, do we want to allow override, or want it to be silent? So this means that if it detects leakage of data, do we want to block it, or do we want it to be silent and do the blocking, or want it to override what the user has already done? So here we're going to put it on silent, so the user won't know what is actually going on. The user will just get that it cannot send this company's information. You just get a notification that you cannot share company's data. So here you specify your domain name, which I've specified here, cafco.com.ng. And after that, we set some policies here. Do we want to prevent corporate data from being accessed by application when the device is locked? Yes, we want to do that. Do you want to revoke encryption keys on enroll? Yes, we want to do that. So here you can set what you want to actually achieve with the Windows Information Protection. So with Intune, you can also create Windows Hello for Business policies. So assuming you had a Windows Hello for Business policy existing, this is what we'll do. Use Windows Hello for Business as a method of signing into Windows. Yes, we want to put it on, and select the number of PIN that the user will use. So I don't have Windows Hello for Business enabled on my organization, so I'm going to put it off. Then we click on Next and select the group that we want to push it to. So before we proceed, I just want to know if we're all clear on creating Windows protection policies, information protection policies. And if you want me to go over it again, you can tell me. Or does anyone have any question?
Sorry, I'm saying that for Windows protection policy, the management type is without enrollment. That means it is managing for applications or for devices that are MEM devices, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But it can also manage the ones that are MDM. So what I selected here was actually MAM. That is why the management type is without enrollment. So I can decide to select with enrollment or without enrollment. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions before we proceed? Okay. So another feature of Microsoft Intune is the selective wipe or retire feature. So for MAM, you can there are actually 3 types of wipe. You can do the wipe with MAM. You can do the retire, and there's the wipe with MDM. So the wipe with MAM only wipes the application the company's information from the user's application on the user's device, while the wipe with MDM wipes the entire device, because it is a company-owned device. Since it's managing the entire device, it will wipe every single thing on the device, while the MAM only wipes the company's information from that device. The retire means that you have left the organization and you're no longer making use of the Microsoft Intune. You're in a new organization, so you want to retire Microsoft Intune from the person's device. So after all I've said today, what do we stand to benefit from Microsoft Intune? So with Microsoft Intune, we get to manage the company-owned devices, allowing the IT managers the ability to control and access the corporate data from what I've shown you. And there are a number of remote actions that can be accomplished through Intune portal. With Microsoft Intune, you can integrate Microsoft Intune with System Center Configuration Manager. So System Center Configuration Manager is actually an on-premise solution that allows you to deploy application, manage application, deploy operating system, manage operating system. System Center Configuration Manager is very wide. You can do a number of things with it. You can actually do files. You can actually make it a file server and do folder redirection with it. You can deploy updates. You can manage updates to devices. So Intune also does similarly the same thing, but it's in a cloud environment. So if you integrate the 2 of them, you can manage your on-premise solutions, and you can manage your on-premise devices and devices that are that access the cloud, devices that access Azure AD, or with System Center Configuration Manager and Microsoft Intune, you can also manage devices on-premise that access the Azure the Active Directory on-premise. So Intune allows us to manage operating systems. It's not just limited to Microsoft operating system, which is Windows. You can also manage operating systems like iOS, Android, and Windows devices. So the minimum operating system for Android is 4.4, the KitKat, and the maximum, we don't have a maximum currently, because every year or every month or every 6 months, let me say that, Android releases a new OS, while for iOS, the minimum iOS version is 8.1, and the maximum is not set. And for the Windows OS, the minimum is 8.1 also, and the maximum is not set too. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you the last demo for today. I'm going to be projecting my screen to show you what it looks like when you have Intune manage your device. So you're going to be seeing my phone shortly. Okay. So can you see my phone? Can anyone see my phone? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, so currently you can see that I have word here and there's another word with a briefcase icon. So the word here is my personal word, and this one carrying a briefcase icon is the one that is managed with Intune. So because it's managed with Intune, you can see a lot of my applications that are with the briefcase icon, my phone, my Play Store, my company portal, downloads, contacts, Excel, Outlook, and Word. So currently I've enrolled my device on the company portal. I enrolled it as a personally owned device. I'm going to be showing you how to do the enrollment too. But before I show you that, I want to show you what happens when I share my try to share company's information from my company owned application to personally owned application. So I'm signing in with a user and I'm going to put in the password. So you can all see the password. So now you can see that the screen is blank. Can everyone see the screen that is blank?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. So from my side, I can actually see the screen is not blank because I'm holding my phone here. But why it is blank on the screen here is because it is protected by Intune, and you're not supposed to see. You're not supposed to see what is on the screen. You're not supposed to see the company application. So I'm going to type in something. Sorry that you cannot see it. I'm going to type in something and try to copy it to my personally owned Word. So I'm going to copy it. I'm typing good day. So I'm going to sign into my personally owned Word and try to paste it. So you can see what is on the screen. Your organization's data cannot be pasted here. Can we all see it?
Yes.
This is because
Yes, we can.
this is because I have disabled the access of users copying and pasting the company's information from one application to another. So they can only do this, or they can only achieve copying and pasting on Intune protected application. So now I'm going to try another thing. This is my work company's Word. So I'm going to try and take a screenshot. So watch what will pop up on the screen. Couldn't capture the screenshots. This is because I have blocked screenshots. So with Intune, you can achieve many more. So here I've currently enrolled my my device, but I want to show you the process of enrolling the device afresh. So I'm going to remove my accounts. Sign out. Sorry.
Still ahead. We'll see you next time.
You have a question? Please, if you do have a question, could you request not to? All right, thank you.
So now I'm not able to, another thing is that the user is not able to successfully remove the Intune company app just immediately. So you have to remove it. You have to go through some processes in order to remove the company application, the company portal application. So I have to go to my settings. In my settings, I have to go to device administration. Device administrator. Sorry. So currently, company application is a device admin application on my device. So I'm going to disable it and remove my work profile. So that is how I remove it. And now you can see that I don't have the application here. So I'm going to go to Google Play Store and download Intune Company app. So in order to access the application, you just type in Intune Company application and it will appear on your Google Play Store. Then you install it. So this is the process of enrolling your devices as a user to Intune.
So quick question.
Okay.
For Android devices, is it possible to manage those applications without installing the Intune Company portal?
Yes, it is. It is possible. That is the one called without enrollment, MAM without enrollment.
So you don't need a broker app for it to be able to.
No.
Okay.
So after this, I'm going to open. So I'm going to sign in with the user accounts that I've created. PGM. So after signing in, it's going to be asking me, it's going to be telling me some things that my company doesn't have access to my information. I don't know why it's having issues signing in. Okay.
Are you using the authenticator also?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it's telling me let's set up the device to access your email, your Wi-Fi, and ask for work. So you also be able to manage your device. So the first step is to create your work profile. Next step is to activate your work profile. And the last step is to update device setting. So let's begin. So here we can see that we have our organization, the things that our organization won't be able to view are our call and web history. So we shouldn't be worried that our organization will have access to our device. They cannot see all this. They cannot see the location. They cannot see our emails and text messages, the ones that are both personal and corporate. The emails, our organization has no access to that. They cannot see our contacts. They cannot see our passwords or our calendars, camera rolls, personal apps. So the ones that our organization can see is our model, the serial number, operating system, work application, the number of the phone, the device name, manufacturer, and the phone number. So I'm setting up my work profile right now. So I'm going to accept and continue. So we click on next. So it's setting up our work profile. So after this, I'm going to show you our device, which has been registered. I'm going to show you on the Intune company portal, the things that it is able to see, like I mentioned before, the device name, the manufacturer name. It's going to show that information. So it has successfully created our work profile. Now it's time to activate our work profile. So it's registering our device currently. This will take up to 5 minutes if you have a very strong internet. So it's actually dependent on internet because it's a cloud solution. So while we wait, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. So this is a very good part I would like everyone to see. So it's going to ask us if it is a personal device or is company-owned device. So now if it's company-owned device, we select company's own device, but since it's our personal owned device, I'm going to select personal owned device. So it gives us an option to select which device it is. So after this, I'm done.
So for it to trigger that, sorry, for it to trigger that particular, for it to trigger that particular question was one of the policies you set, right?
Yes. Okay.
So the reason he's doing this, so buttress on what Okwe just said, the reason he's asking that is to know what kind of, how much control is actually going to have or put effect on my device. For sure, it's gonna. So that's the reason he's asking that, and that's also one of the configurations she put in place earlier on.
Okay. So so I want to know exactly which particular policy you put in place that actually triggered that event.
Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to share my screen. Stop present.
Is anyone asking any other question? I thought somebody else was asking a question. Is anyone? Okay.
Okay.
Someone is asking a question. Is it possible to avoid screen recording?
Yes, I already set it as a policy on the application protection policy. So when you're creating the application protection policies, you set that you don't want screen record or you don't want screen grab. So you can actually enable the policy or disable it. So here, device compliance. Okay, so I mean, the policy is actually inbuilt. So there's not a place where you select that they should select company or data. There's not a place that you can set it here, but you can set. So you can set a device compliance policy. So the device compliance policy now, when you create device compliance policies, you create them because you want them because they are using companies' owned device. So this is the part of MDM. You only create device compliance policies for MDM devices. So when you create it and you apply to the MDM devices, it's not going to ask them that question. It is going to automatically take it as a company-owned device. So currently, because I don't have any policy applied or created, a compliance policy created, that is why it is asking that question.
Okay. So if I understand you, it asks that question because there's no policy here, one, which is correct.
Yes.
Now, what happens after you create a policy here and the particular device you're trying to enroll is not corporate owned, it is actually a personal device?
So if you create a policy, you are going to assign it to a user. So if the user is signing into a device that is personally owned, it's not going to apply to the user's device because the user has not, the policy has not been assigned to the user. So the policy will only apply if it is assigned to that particular user. If not, it won't apply. You still get the same choice of whether it is company owned or personally owned. So it's only when the compliance policy has been assigned to that user that the user will not get that option again.
Okay, no, we'll take it out of this. We'll take the discussion outside. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, so I wanted to show, this is not my tenant, sorry. I shared the wrong screen. So let me sign out and sign in. I want to show you my device that has been enrolled. pg@cafco.com.ng. Why is it telling me that my account is not okay? cafco.com. So I'm going to show you my device right now. So we come to devices here. And we click on all devices. So here I can see the ownership of the device, whether it's personal or it's corporate device. So the reason why it's showing non-compliant is because I did not apply a compliance policy to it. I did not send a compliance policy to this user, this particular user. So that is why it is showing non-compliant. But if it is compliant and I created a compliance policy, it's going to show this. Another reason why it could show not compliant is that the device does not meet the compliance policy requirements that has been set. So you can see my devices here, PGMIN, Android for Work. So it's telling me my device model, the operating system like you saw, the serial number, the device name, and the management name. So that is all Intune is going to be able to see. So here you can decide to retire the device, or you can wipe the device, or you can even delete the device. Here, this remote lock means that you can remotely lock the application on the device. So if the application is still opened right now and the company information is showing and someone is trying to look at the company information, maybe a user left his phone and left his phone on and the company information is showing, you can actually click here remote lock to lock the application. So it triggers a remote lock on the application and the person doesn't have access to view the company's information. So here, if you have created any policies and you want to sync the policies, you can come here and click on the device and sync it to the device. So if the device the user has created a passcode, which is an application code on the device, you can click on this place, maybe an application pin like the app lock that I talked about. You can click here to reset the passcode. Here you can also get a remote assistant session to the device, or you can send a custom notification to the device. So that will bring us to the end of our session. Thank you very much for listening. If you have more questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, okay, there's a question in the chat window that say, are there limitations to what I can access if I choose either private device or company-owned device in relation to customer experience? And this question is from Tokwe.
Okay, so the limitations depend on what has been set in your organization. So the policies that have been set in your organization, for instance, if the policies are you don't want the user to be able to create, or you don't want the user to be able to take screenshots or copy or paste a data, you apply it to the user's account. So the policy is applied to the user's account, whether the user has a personally owned device or the user has a company owned device, the same policy will still apply. So whatever a personally owned device is getting, the company owned device will get, unless your organization, you decide to create a separate policy for company owned device and a separate policy for personally owned device. That is when you set what you want.
Okay, I don't know whether Dr. Tokpa is still on the call, whether that answers your question. For those of us that is also asking, okay, James has already pasted that, where you can get the previous session, it is in the YouTube. You can follow our YouTube channel. With that, I think we've come to the end of the program. If you still have question, even we'll still leave this window open. You can continue to ask question on it. And Ope promised to get back to you on that other one that you asked earlier on. I think we've already used up our time. Thank you so much, Ope, for this time. Thank you for a very wonderful session, very engaging and very informative. Even though I have a couple of issues with my internet, I was really hoping to get back on the show so that I don't miss anything. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you all for attending. And like we said, there are other virtual session that is going on from the MCT community. There is the one for the Azure is going to be starting by 6:30. Please feel free to join. Feel free to join them. The link, James will be providing that link on the chat window for you to join. Also, please, our user group, we are migrating away from the WhatsApp. One of the reasons we are migrating away from the WhatsApp group is, one, because of we're getting to capacity limit. Secondly, about security also. So we'll be using Kazila. I think my teeth actually wants to break calling that thing. So, but then as time goes on, I think I'll get used to how to pronounce it very well. But the link also will be provided in the chat window. And then for some of us that are already on the WhatsApp group, please, I'm begging, click on the link. It's already on the WhatsApp group. So to migrate you to the Kazila app, is that all you need is just your phone number. It's the same thing as WhatsApp, but it is very, very, very more secure than the WhatsApp we're using. So I'll beg every one of us to join that, because going forward, we might be considering also all information, all announcements may be, that is, on the Kazala app is where we will be doing all of that. We might not be doing it on WhatsApp, because we've gotten situation where people also compromise, and then they've asked some of our members for things when it is not even the group admin that has sent it. So please, we want to use a very more secure platform, and Microsoft has provided that for us. It is free. You can join, and if you have an organization, those of you that are using Office 365, you already have it. So it's without any cost. You can join, and you can also make use of it corporately. Thank you so much once again. Tomorrow we'll be having another session. Like we said, this EMS, this is the part 1 of this series. The part 2 of the series is the identity and access management, which will be taken by Idara Upong. This is going to be, oh, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, I want to correct that. Is the data security, Azure information protection, and Office 365 advanced threat protection. That will be taken the same time tomorrow, 5 to 6 by Idara. So I want to bet you don't want to miss that. You also want to be going to be another very, very informative session. So till then, everyone, I will implore you, stay safe and then stay protected. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome. Oh, sugar.